What's going on, guys? I'm Andrew.
I'm Jason.
And this is Movie Source.
Today we're going to be talking about Batman Begins.
Alright, so for me, I remember seeing this on Wednesday, June 16th, or rather June 15th, 2005, and I just remember I saw it with my brothers, and I was, again, after coming off of Batman and Robin, I was just like really anticipating something different, something like epic and dark. And from the trailers, it looked like that's what we were gonna get, and then experiencing in the theater, like I was just like, wow, this is the Batman story I've been waiting my whole life to see. Not only on that, they told an amazing origin story too.
Yeah, that was, I think, the best part about it was that they really went all out and giving Batman a full backstory and explaining how he became, like, you know, so good at fighting, he became almost a ninja, that kind of thing. How he learned from the League of Shadows just how to be secretive and how to use fear against others.
Absolutely, and I gotta say, I really love in this film too how they use the non-linear, storytelling, where they show the first scene we do see is Bruce Wayne falling down, and then as a kid, and we see him that he's scared of bats, he has a fear of it, and then again immediately after that scene where he's an adult in prison, excuse me, and again like starts just going, the story progresses and then cuts back a little bit, and when we're in the flashbacks, the story is progressing. So I thought they did a really good job of editing those scenes and making it make sense in the way it was edited down.
Well, yeah, you talked about the very first scene when he's a kid and he falls down in the well and he sees all the bats, and it shows how afraid he is. That kind of sets the whole tone. The whole point of this movie is based around fear.
Absolutely.
Like, he wants to use fear against people who use fear against others. And even the villain, Scarecrow, uses fear as his main weapon. This whole movie is kind of based around that concept.
It's also very psychological, which is what the director, Christopher Nolan, who I'm a huge fan of, that's a lot of his movies are psychological thrillers, and also they make you think a lot after you watch his movies. You got to rewatch them multiple times to really, pick up on other stuff, because he just really pays attention, and just, like I said, I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I loved what he did with this series.
Yeah, he gave it a very serious take.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're used to all these other Batman movies that are very campy, very comic booky, and like some of them, some of the earlier ones are serious, but not like this one.
The Tim Burton.
This one makes it feel like this could actually be real, like.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. There were definitely so many times when I'm watching it and I was like, wow, I buy that. Like, I know this is supposed to be a comic book movie, but I buy that. I buy him with the way they explained, with using the cape and all, too, and the memory cloth.
And all of his weapons and stuff are, like, from the science division.
Right.
Like, it's actually...
Applied science.
Exactly, all the stuff that could be, possible. And they sort of explain all the science about it, like his grappling hook and all... the cape you're talking about, and his armor and all that. They go into detail about all of that. I love that.
Right, and also, really quickly, I want to talk about that suit, the suit he wears in this. Also, before we talk about that, I love how they progress the suit. Like, he just doesn't start out with the suit. It's like, oh, he just randomly has a bat suit. No, they progress it. First he gets that suit that's worth $300,000 that the bean counters didn't feel, a soldier's life was worth. So, that was, I love the progression of seeing, how he goes from that to a different suit. I personally like this suit more than the Dark Knight / Dark Knight Rises suit, me personally. I know he couldn't turn his neck and all, and that was a big issue for a lot of the actors, and I like the Dark Knight Rises suit. I love this suit. Now, we gotta mention Gotham City, of course. They shot it in Chicago, and it just, again, like, every scene, I'm like, dude, this is Gotham City, and there's the corruption in it, and, the amounts of people in each scene.
The underground area where
in the Narrows, and they showed a lot in Arkham Asylum. I just so many things that, like, as a big Batman fan, I'm like, wow, and they're doing these scenes justice in those locations, so...
Yeah, and I kind of liked how, like, when it showed in some of the flashbacks, like, they're on Bruce's dad's train and that he just built, and when you see that scene, it looks like Gotham is very futuristic. It looks very just bright and, like, not colorful, but just very futuristic looking. But then once you're in the present in Bruce's time, then it looks very run down. Oh, yeah. Totally different. Kind of drives the point home that, like, wow, the city's really run down now. It's full of crime. So
definitely. All right, we got to go into talking about the action in this movie. Now, look, there's definitely some good drawn out moments and some well thought out things, and I understand where Christopher Nolan was coming from, for sure. He wanted to show, it was more of an artistic take, like he wanted to show the villain side of how they see Batman, and That's cool. I get that, but when your whole movie of editing is on those action scenes, like I had to kind of pause Jason and just like step.
The scenes are just cut very quickly. So like as soon as you see him punch someone, it's a new cut.
Right, a new cut.
It's like, you never see him actually string together a few punches.
They were using like I forgot it was like a different kind of karate they were using for this, but it was and I watched the behind the scenes. It was a cool karate like the stuff I was watching. It's like, wow, that's interesting. Those are cool moves. Again, just the way it was edited, the action scenes, I wanted to see a little more because he was kicking ass. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really exactly see on some of the scenes what was going on. I love the action in this movie. It's incredible. I just wish I could have seen a little more clearly what a little of Batman's amazing ninjutsu moves because the training scenes. I dug that stuff. It's not the action I dug in the train, but what it take, like Bruce freezing in the cold, going through all the hard stuff.
Just seeing him become like who will eventually be Batman versus like, oh, there's this guy that's Batman and he's Batman. Cool. No, you have to see him go through step by step. You see his parents dying. You see him kind of rebelling as a early, like not teen, but like early adulthood. And he goes off and travels the world to kind of get inside the mind of a criminal.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes through all that training with Ra's al Ghul, like all the different fight scenes, like
Henry
you said.
Ducard.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, his disguise.
His alias.
Yeah. And I love the scene where he's about to be sworn into the League of Shadows when all that choreography with the other ninjas just like in a line.
Oh yeah,
and they hide. Like I love that scene. That scene was really well done.
Yeah,
one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
No, it was clearly edited, and I could see everything for the most part that was going on there. Good call. And also going into that, let's mention Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman in this movie. Like for me, again, still for me, Michael Keaton's my personal favorite Batman, but Christian Bale in this movie.
Great.
Oh no, he's amazing, and as Bruce Wayne, he's the best Bruce Wayne ever.
Easily.
I think Ben Affleck might top him, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But staying on topic, Christian Bale, the scene where like he's beyond over the top. I mean, I love all the scenes where he's being an idiot playboy and just making people never could not suspect that he's Batman. It's great stuff where he's like, I'm buying this hotel and setting some new rules about the pool area. Like, I love those scenes.
Yeah, but then he sees Rachel walk up and you see his face totally
changed. Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, this isn't really who I am," Yeah.
It's not who
and then
you
she
are
says
underneath.
that quote that is very defining in this movie.
It's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you. And I love it when Batman says that. When Batman says to Rachel, when he reveals to her, because she says, "You could die. Who are you?" And he says, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." That's like perfect.
Yep.
I love the subtext.
Very well done.
And like that makes sense how she would figure out on the spot that's Bruce. Perfectly
right
well
away.
executed. So, just getting more into Christian Bale, he nailed Bruce Wayne for me. And I actually dug his Batman in this too. And you know what? Later in the films, his voice gets much more raspy and Clint Eastwood-esque. But he
really only goes overboard when he's trying to intimidate and he's talking to villains.
No,
like when he's talking to normal people or like just Gordon or whoever, it's not as over the top.
No, I completely agree. And like the scene where he is interrogating Flass and he's like, "Where were the other drugs going?" Like, no, I dug his voice there. My favorite scene with his voice though was the scene, with Rachel and he's like, "How do you feel?" And like I thought his voice was perfect there. But again, you make the good point. When he's intimidating guys, it makes sense why he has to do that. Absolutely. But Christian Bale did an awesome job in this movie, and he was perfect for this particular film and the trilogy. I loved his take on Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I loved that they went so deep into his backstory, as we said earlier. You really got the feeling like this makes sense. I understand why a billionaire is dressing up and fighting crime. Like he wants to avenge his parents, and also he wants to turn fear on the criminal. He's sick of what's happening to his city. Like first he wanted to feel,
and that's another thing too. When Ra's al Ghul is or whatever it is, I forget.
Henry Ducard.
Henry Ducard is saying
Ra's al Ghul.
Basically when he's being inducted to the League of Shadows and say, okay, our first thing of action is going to be to destroy Gotham City. That's when Bruce is like, no, I need to actually save and protect that city. That's kind of
his
what clicks it for him. Yeah. That's when he decides to go back.
It was interesting to hear the League of Shadows backstory, and what I like, and now leading into Liam Neeson as Henry Ducard and / Ra's al Ghul. What I love about this villain is he doesn't feel he's doing the wrong thing. He feels like what he's doing is good, and I think those are kind of the scariest kinds of villains. Sometimes, obviously, we'll get into the Joker next movie, in which he's freaky scary. But like, I feel like a lot of times scary villains too can be guys who really believe they're doing good, and I mean, like, look, he has good intentions in terms of wanting to make the city a better place, but murdering every single people.
He doesn't want to make the city a better place. He wants to make the world a better place by seeing its greatest city that has now fallen to this low point, like just totally tear itself apart, and so they can rebuild and kind
Right.
of use it as an example.
Right. Well, no, like as you just said, basically the League of Shadows, they destroy civilizations that have reached the pinnacle of decadence.
Right.
And so they can start over again and rebuild, and also maybe learn from their mistakes so it doesn't have to happen again. So no, it makes sense, and you understand their motivation, or rather Ra's al Ghul and also the League of Shadows' motivation. So, and I thought too, like the scene, the chemistry between him and Bruce, I love the scenes of him training Bruce. I was like, dude, this is so defining, like the training of Bruce Wayne. I've always wanted to see this on screen.
You see him becoming Batman with each step, basically. Like,
And I felt like this is the way better version of Qui-Gon Jinn. Like he's the mentor and like the Jedi Master, if you will. He's Bruce's, trainer or teacher rather.
and he even says to him at the party at the end, he's like, "You were my best student.
You were my greatest student." I love that line, dude. Again, every scene Liam Neeson is obviously I love, but every scene between Bruce and Liam, I love the chemistry and the dynamic
and the connection. You actually feel like they have a true
also
connection.
too, like I felt a sense of like when it's Batman on screen, you don't feel too much of a sense of danger usually for the character. Like he's gonna beat the crap out of these guys. When he's up against Ra's al Ghul, whether it's in the Batsuit or at Wayne Manor, I love the scene where Christian Bale is drunk and going on a. That is, dude.
You see him like he takes the glass, he gets in the character. He's all normal, and he's all like.
Everybody,
you see him like,
everyone, I want to thank you for coming here and drinking all my booze.
No, seriously.
No, seriously. There's a
You're
thing
all a bunch
about
of freeloaders.
No, there's a thing about being Wayne that you're never short of a few for the freeloaders like yourself. So here's to you people. Dude, in the theater, I was like, this is Bruce Wayne. This is Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne putting on a facade.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, for sure. I just mean like in terms of being the playboy, because we got none of that in the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney. So I love that they included that. But getting right back to Ra's al Ghul. I felt so much of a sense of danger for Bruce and / Batman in this. So
I like Scarecrow as kind of the side villain. He kind of played
he's not the main villain.
He played into the whole fear theme with the serum and like the drugs coming in, and that's exactly Ra's al Ghul's plan is to spread that drug into all of Gotham and watch him tear himself apart.
Yeah, for sure. And that Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane, is played by Cillian Murphy. He actually auditioned for Batman in this film.
Cillian or Killian?
I think it's Killian. You might be right. But either way, whatever. Anyways, the point is he did audition for Bruce Wayne, and Christopher Nolan loved his audition so much that he told him, I want you to be Scarecrow, and he accepted it smartly. And he was actually a great choice. I know they were
really good. I like him a lot. He's kind of like eerie and creepy a little bit. Just
No, I remember in the animated series he had red hair, which I loved that in the animated series, but no, I was totally cool with the look he had, and I actually enjoyed the mask, and when he was using fear toxin on guys, I thought those were really cool scenes. And again, the scenes between him and Batman where he does the fear toxin on Batman.
And Batman just looks evil. He looks sick.
The scene where Batman
when he gets the medicine,
where he says
Batman.
Oh no, when he says taste of your own medicine, doctor. Oh no, that was awesome. And then he looks like a devil to him. But also too when Scarecrow uses the fear toxin on him and the bats are coming out, and then he's like, you want my opinion? You need to lighten up.
I thought those scenes were really well done with the whole like they're moving the camera around and all those different lights and all
it was
that stuff.
clear. I could see most of the stuff.
I like that a lot. Yeah,
absolutely. And then now moving on, we got to talk about Mike, or rather, actually, I want to talk about Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. Now. If you've watched any of my other reviews, which as we said earlier in the description, you will know I hate and despise how they use Commissioner Gordon in the series because he's the most useless. Rewatch the series and prove me wrong in the comment section if you feel he was used other than a useless character, because again in those movies he just had a few moments of dialogue and just so we could say Commissioner Gordon's here. In this movie, he's a central character. He's one of the 3 or 4 main characters. And his scenes with Batman, it's like Batman knows he's the only cop he can trust. And there's so many corrupt cops on the force.
And I also love that they show there's a reason why he can trust him. Because when he's young, they show him comforting him right after his parents died. I love that.
I'm glad you mentioned that scene. The scene where we see him comforting Bruce and putting the jacket, it was such a, in a moment where you feel so sad and bad for Bruce, it's such a sweet and delightful scene. And you see, Commissioner Gordon's going to be an important part in this. In that one scene alone, I was like, dude, he's done more in this one scene than he did in all 4 movies.
Combined.
This is the real Commissioner Gordon. And Gary Oldman, fantastic job. Again, I love all his scenes between Batman and Commissioner Gordon.
Well, he's technically not Commissioner in this movie.
Sorry, you're right. Sergeant Gordon. He becomes Lieutenant. I'm glad you said it. He becomes Lieutenant Gordon in Dark Knight, and then he becomes the Commissioner in that film when Commissioner Loeb dies. When he shows him the Joker card, and also talking about Batman, there's escalation now. You have to understand, it's gonna we start wearing Kevlar. They start using armor-piercing bullets. So whatever we got, they're gonna double down and like go harder at us. So we have to be prepared. And when you see I remember when we saw the Joker card in the theater. I swear, everyone was looking at me, but I was like, yes, Joker! Like, I really, again, Christopher Nolan denied a lot after the film came out that, no, that was just, I just put the Joker card in there just for, like, a little fan wink, I'm not saying he's going to be in the sequel, we don't know. But
he knew.
Oh, no, I thought he was, like, giving us a hint, and also, too, in Dark Knight, which we'll talk about later, he mentions like how the suit might not do well against dogs, but it'll do well against cats. So clearly, Christopher Nolan likes to foreshadow things in the next movies of in a trilogy. So I thought that was a really great touch seeing the Joker card and hearing about escalation, how things are going to get worse, which we see in the Dark Knight. Gotta mention Michael Caine is out for the scenes between the chemistry between Michael Caine and Christian Bale. I love their scenes together. They're dynamic, and again, their chemistry. I love when Alfred's helping him create the bat. So he's working with him.
I was just gonna say when they're down there in the bat cave, like he's down in the cave, like in a suit. I love it.
Charming. Morgan Freeman in this movie. I wouldn't call it a small role. He definitely has not a main role.
It's a very key, important role. It's not necessarily a main role, but it's key to the story.
Every scene he's in, you're like, no, it makes sense that he's in the scene. It further moves along the story. It's not like, why is this guy randomly? No, he has to help Bruce get the bat suit. He has to help him with all his He gives him all his creations basically for his to assemble his bat suit, and also gives him the memory cloth for the cape. Love all those scenes, and again, the chemistry and the dialogue. I know I keep saying that a lot, but it's just that's what Christopher Nolan really nailed to me in this series. He got the characters really right, and the chemistry infused between all the actors. He really nailed it. I feel like.
Yeah, well, for me, Lucius Fox just feels like the bridge between like the comic book kind of unrealisticness and the realisticness of real life. Like they explain all these weapons that Batman is using, the Batmobile, like all these things.
The Tumbler.
All these things have like an actual realistic use.
Katie Holmes was okay as Rachel Dawes, nothing too crazy, but I didn't feel she was as weak as everyone said. But I thought she was okay.
She wasn't weak, but she just didn't feel like a true like. Was she a district attorney at this point, or she was just kind of assistant?
Well, that's what she is in Dark Knight as well. The main supporting cast, all the characters film, I thought was really strong job. I can't think of too many.
Christopher Nolan usually does a good job at his casting choices. Even though he uses a lot of the same people in all of his movies, he gets good actors. So
definitely, absolutely. Now, closing thoughts. As I said, I love this movie. I'm gonna say right now, I recognize The Dark Knight. It's a better movie than this. It is. But I like Batman Begins better because to me, this is the definitive Batman story. We see so many things in this movie, from Batman starting out as a kid and also his journey growing up, or rather not already grown up, and becoming the Bat, doing his training with Ra's al Ghul, and just understanding why he becomes this creature of the night, why he dresses up like this, and using fear against his enemies. I really feel this is the definitive Batman story, and for me, I'm giving it a 9.4 out of 10.
Yeah, I definitely love this movie too. Like you said, great origin story, and it just seems like it could be something that really happened. Like it doesn't seem impossible, and like he doesn't have superpowers or anything. It's just he has a bunch of applied sciences that helps him out a lot. But I'm gonna give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about this movie in the comments section, and if you like this video, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.